Hi guys, welcome back. Life of Education's podcast again. We're here with Warrick Mac Nicol. Despite the name sounding like you're British, you're actually from South Africa.
Yeah, very much from South Africa, from Durban, a little coastal town. Now living in Dubai.
Yeah, so Warrick, through Caroline's training for her mountain challenge, Warrick revealed that he has lots of exciting plans as well. So I think that combined with your athletic competition.
Well, let's backtrack here. For people who don't know who you are and what you do, tell people about some of the amazing challenges and crazy training sessions that you do. Like, you're an ultra marathoner and everything else.
Ironman.
Yeah.
Look, to be honest with you, I don't think I'm anything special. I think there are a lot more people that are a lot more crazier than me, a lot more talented and better than me at pretty much everything. So basically I've grown up in Durban, South Africa. And I think South African, we've been so lucky.
Just bring that nice and close to you.
Is that okay? With being South African, we've got the amazing opportunity and growing up there just to live an outdoor and adventurous lifestyle.
High five, like me.
100%. There we go, exactly. The poor people from England and stuff, they got no chance.
I know.
Yeah, hate those poor people from England.
And Ireland. Ireland.
Those Irish people though, we got rained off. We couldn't go out. We wanted to. We just sat with our cheeks against the windows, wondering when it will stop raining.
Yeah, see, but us South Africans and Australians, we're pretty hardcore. If it rains, we still go out anyway. So
yeah.
we're not so
for like
soft.
20 minutes.
So basically just grew up outdoors and in sports, and was very fortunate to be able to explore and see parts of the world that people don't, or especially South Africa, that people don't see through kayaking and mountain biking and mountain running and hiking. And I think that just, for me, planted so many seeds of what's actually out there to do. And that led me obviously going into sport. So I started off more kayaking in oceans and down rivers and doing some pretty cool races through parts of South Africa. And then I found the mountain bike and started exploring more into that, and that's just led to so much more. So I've done things like a C2 summit of Sani Pass, which was and these are just what I call mini adventures. They are things I come up with, and I just decide I'm doing it.
So what is it that you did?
So C2 summit of Sani Pass. Sani Pass is one of the mountains in the Drakensberg Mountains. It's probably about I'd say, I think it was like a 200 and something kilometer distance in total, but with the last 8 Ks of the cycle being up with more than 1,500 meters of ascent. So it was up this massive pass at the end of the day. And
so what did you do? You cycled it, the whole thing?
Yeah, so basically for me, C2 Summit means you start in the ocean. So I went for a swim in the ocean in Durban, jumped on my bicycle, and for 3 days, me and 2 friends cycled from Durban to the top of Sani Pass. And it was amazing. Like, it's amazing how people...
Were you camping?
The plan was to camp. So we had all stuff with us and ready to camp. And then as we went... Well, no, it didn't rain. But as we went, people then just started offering stuff. So we got to Richmond Country Club and walked in there and basically just told the guys what we were doing. Next minute, we were sleeping on the Richmond Country Club floor. And then a friend of mine who actually rode the whole journey with me, his parents lived in Underberg. So we had planned that night to stay in Underberg at his place. And then the last day was basically summiting Sani Pass. And that's basically what I do on the adventure side. I just love to come up with things that aren't ridiculously stupid.
So tell me some of your adventures that you have in your brain. What else are you planning?
Oh, jeez. I don't think an adventurous person ever stops coming up with stuff, to be honest with you. Like, constantly my mind is just ticking over with what I think is cool things to do. People generally, I think they're stupid.
Yeah, I get that too. People think I'm nuts.
Yeah, yours is crazy, especially what you've been through is incredible. So, I've got a little bit of a swim planned. Well, before that, I would like to this year, probably January, February. I'm looking to attempt the first C2 summit of Jebel Jais. So that will be have a little swim in Rack in the ocean, chuck the shoes on, and basically start running for, I think it's 68 Ks, 70 Ks from the ocean to the top of...
Uphill as well?
So the first bit, probably the first 15 Ks is pretty flat, and then I'm trying to keep it as off-road as I can.
Right.
Because anyone can drive along a dirt road or a tar road and see that every day. For me, it all comes back to the fact of seeing parts of the world that maybe 1% or less get to see.
Right.
So we'll basically go straight over the first mountain range that we can find, and then down, and then we go to the bottom of Jebel Jais. So I want to be at the bottom of Jebel Jais.
Yeah.
And then we start to climb up, but not up the road. I want to go up the tracks and up to the top.
So you're going on the goat path.
On the goat path, which I think you know pretty well by now.
Yeah,
so you might
I
be my guide, yeah?
I started getting called, one of my friends started calling me mountain goat. So yeah, you're doing the goat path.
Well, yeah, the goat path it is in.
Mm-hmm.
And just basically, that's it, just literally...
And you're going to run it?
Yeah, right. Well, look, you're not going to run up every mountain. The mountains are pretty gnarly. The plan is to just do it man-powered. From sea to summit.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be parts where you walk, there'll be parts where you crawl.
Where you scramble,
Yeah, I mean, and the beauty with things like this and why I also do these things is for me, you find out so much about who you are, and you'll know this from pushing your limits, whether it's in the gym or doing what you did now. It's just about pushing those boundaries and learning who I am, because there's going to be times, it's only a 60, 70 kilometer run.
So I'm curious, with that in mind, what have you learnt about yourself, and what has this brought? Don't laugh.
No, because I'm trying to internalize what you're saying myself.
Don't laugh.
No, I'm laughing at what I've learned about myself.
So what have you learnt about yourself? What has been an experience where you decided to come up with a challenge, and maybe you can share that with everybody, and you learnt something that you really didn't know about yourself before?
Cheapers. To be honest with you, I've done a lot of really silly long things. A lot. Not as much as some people, but for me, I've done a lot. And I think we're so quick as humans to get into a bit of a bad place and lash out with the closest person to us, instead of taking responsibility and owning where we are and trying to find a way out of it. So, like for an example, I was doing a kayak down the Doozy River, which is it's a 120 kilometer paddle, but they do it. The main race is 3 days, and then there's a race called the non-stop Doozy, which you do in 1 day, and you start at basically as the sun is just starting to crest, like to come up, you start paddling, and it generally takes you around 10 to 12 hours to paddle this. And I got to about 15 kilometers from the finish, and my day didn't start out too great. I had a bit of a cracked nose within the first 10 Ks, which my boat kept filling up with water, and just made life really, really tough. So I got to the 15K to go mark, and there's this little bridge called Mariam Foley, and I got a photo of it. There's this rubbish heap, and I'm literally sitting on this rubbish heap with glass and just everything, poking me in the bum. I've taken everything off except for my tights, and I'm literally sitting on this little heap. And I'm sitting there, and I've got a towel over my head. I've got a hot dog in my one hand, just trying to get some food in, and a bottle of water in the other. And I must have sat there for 20 minutes. And my dad kept saying to me, my dad's amazing. He's been to pretty much every race he can get to. He's been one of my biggest supporters. And I'm sitting there, and he keeps telling me, boy, just jump in your boat and just float down, or just get going. Come on, it's time to get going. I eventually looked at him and, excuse my French, but I was like, Dad, just fuck off, leave me alone. I'm sitting on this hump, and no one was going to move me until I decided it was time. And it's happened twice, especially with my dad, actually 3 times where I've sworn at him, only 3 times. And literally, for me, I was so quick to lash out at him, and it's just not right. You know what I'm saying? So try own that side of it, if that makes sense.
Taking responsibility of,
Exactly.
yeah,
And then also
for your emotional state of being.
Which is also very tough when you're 10 hours into paddling because you're so irritable.
And especially with family. Family has
Yeah.
the tendency to be able to, it's like you can be the most politest, kindest person, and with your family, you're a monster.
well, you don't have to hold back.
Yeah.
Like, because you've got such like unconditional love between you, it's so easy just to lash out at them. And yeah, I mean, that's one thing I definitely have not got right or perfected yet. I mean, I've no doubt in one of these little stupid adventures along down the line, I'll say something stupid to someone, or someone that you're actually doing it with that's actually just there to help you, and you just lash. It's crazy. It's epic.
I understand that.
Exactly. It's crazy.
It's even harder as a woman. Control the emotions.
Yeah, but then when you're 2 hours into a run, or you're 10 hours into a thing, like you're tired, you're fatigued,
Yeah,
you're
but
hungry.
that's also no excuse as well. Like,
No,
I
but
think
it's just-
with everything you can, sorry to interrupt you can train yourself to do anything. So if you can train your body, then you can also
Yeah.
train your emotional state of being to be aware and control yourself when you have moments like that.
Is that? Yeah, I was gonna say. Are you? Okay, we'll take
Not
that sound
at
bite.
all.
I'll take
We've got
sound
that on
bite.
video,
Yeah.
eh?
I just need the audio. That's all.
Yeah, I didn't say that I'm a good trainer when it comes to my emotional state.
No,
of
I just
being.
think like when you're so tired, it's just like trying to deal with extra weight on your back. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like that's extra. That's more discipline to be able to keep your stuff together at the end of a 12-hour paddle than like waking up out of bed on a sunny morning and being polite with your family. You know.
Well, to be honest with you, like Keith, it doesn't even come down to a 10-hour paddle or whatever it is. It's literally just in general. I mean, we are so quick to do that and to snap. It can be a 1-hour run, whatever your limits are. We've all got different limits, and it's when we get to those limits to try be, or just in general, try be that better person almost.
Yeah. Yeah, God, I think patience is one of the best things you can do if you can figure out a way to understand rather than snap. But
So I wanted to ask, did you have...
No, go for it.
I was going to ask you, how do you... So this is obviously, you do this as a hobby and you do this because you love it, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? No one's going to run 70 Ks without actually enjoying that process. So if this is something that you've discovered within yourself that is something that makes you happy, how do you get yourself to a place where you can actually do that? Did you start off like running 10 Ks and then thinking, oh, I really enjoy this, I'm going to run 12 Ks, and then those 12 became 100 Ks?
Yeah.
Is that how it happens? Or did you just one day off the bat, like, I'm going to run 100 Ks, like, I can do this?
So to be honest with you, my first 100K was literally off the bat. But it was a progression of so many different factors. I've grown up where my grandparents owned a caravan park in South Africa, where we would literally wake up in the morning, go for like a 2-hour surf, then we'll get back, have lunch, and then they would have entertainment, so some form of sports for the kids to play. So there'll be like an hour, 2 hours of sport. Then we'll go out and have dinner, whatever. Then you go back out and they'd have one more form of entertainment, whether it was basketball or something like that at night. So literally we were doing 3 sports through the day. So I think I've just been extremely lucky with my upbringing that I was able to push and grow an engine for endurance, if that makes sense. Having said that, it doesn't mean that that's your limitations. Like, anyone can do what I do. It's just a matter of a decision to do it. I mean, we need to decide we want to do something before we do it. And then it's just do it. I mean, prime example is what you've achieved and what you achieve in the gym. I could never achieve stuff like that. Like, I could
do a lot
achieve
in the
it.
gym, I'm not going to lie.
I was going to say, what do you do at the gym?
I do maybe half an hour
Yeah, but the
on
way-
my phone for the other half hour.
The weights you throw around and stuff it's incredible. That's what I'd be able to throw around with my big guns.
I think that's just a accumulation of doing 60 to 70% effort over 15, 20 years. Yeah, I'm not one for the gym. No, but look, I think when I'm running, like this morning I did 25 Ks, 2.5 hour run. There's a large chunk in the middle of that where I'm just like, why am I doing this? Why have I agreed to do this? Like, I could have stayed in bed. When the alarm goes off, my alarm was in my dream this morning. I was in such a deep sleep, 4 a.m. To try and get out and beat the heat. But you just have to keep going. Like, the decision is one thing, but I think the decision, you've got to really make the decision in the sense that either you commit to something, you book something, you get a partner, training partner to do it with you, so you got accountability. It's not just like saying, that would be nice, I'll do that one day. Like, we've organised a hike to go out in a few weeks, and a few of the people are like, oh, I don't know if I'm fit enough for it. Like, what's, and they're asking me, I'm like, guys, it's 4 weeks away. You've got time to get fit for it now. It's just a hike. Like, this is your training goal. Go do it. Go.
And the difference, look, like, one of the things that I like about hiking is you're just walking. Like, if you can't walk, like, you're in trouble.
Well,
like,
this is it. This and two of the people are literally like considering not going because it's too much for them. And I know one's had a baby last year, so she's coming out of that, and another girl is just super inactive, but would love to be able to do it. It's like, all right, well, you have 4 weeks to be able to do it. Go and do it. Go, like, get on the treadmill tonight. I'd send them a little WhatsApp message. Get on the treadmill, whatever percent, 20 minutes. Just get walking. Add more time to it over the next few weeks. Like, you don't have to be. My point is, you're never really ready to do the thing you want to do. You just make your decision to do it, and then you get ready in the interim period. I think that's real important for people. Like, nobody's fit enough to run a marathon. Like, you book the marathon, you commit to it, and then you heap the pressure on yourself and you go get fit.
No, yeah, look, I completely agree. It's literally, and it's with everything in life. It's just that one decision, and the hardest part is following up with that decision, because it's so easy to wake up one morning and get up and go do that 1K run. And I don't care if it's a kilometer, I don't care if it's a 100-meter walk. It's a starting point, and that's the biggest thing, is trying to, and this is the pot calling the kettle black completely, because there's so many times where I set that alarm for 4 o'clock and I just don't get up, and it's actually it's a weak mind, but you just have to do it. You have to actually do it. If you make that decision to go on that hike or to do that 60K run, that 100-kilometer run, if you want to do it, if you want to achieve anything in life, get up and make it happen, because no one is going to do it for you. And it comes back to that sitting on that mound. I always go back to sitting on that mound for me. Is my dad was never going to get me off that mound, ever. It had to be me.
Just push you in.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he could have tried that, but I would have just tipped over and swum anyway. So I just floated down anyway. So, but for me, it was literally like seeing that a friend of mine paddling towards me. I was like, not a chance am I letting this go without me.
Is that what made you get off it?
Eventually, yeah. So a friend of mine, Farmer Glenn, he was paddling down in a
What's
double.
What's his name?
Farmer Glenn. Well, Gary Glenn Hall. Sorry, Glenn Hall. So Farmer Glenn's his name.
Okay.
And
I just wondered, was his name Farmer?
No. So he's a farmer up, and he's actually quite a famous guy. He an adventure nut of note, and he started a 3-day mountain bike race that is it's one of the biggest mountain bike races in the world now, called Sarnie to See. But anyway, so I saw Farmer Glenn paddling towards me with his partner, who I actually, if I remember correctly, was a young Epworth girl, so a student from Epworth who was paddling this 120K with him. And I saw him paddling, and I literally knew if I didn't get up now off this mount, I was never getting up. So I got up, put my shoes on, didn't say a word to anyone, just literally got up, put my shoes on, put my kit on, put my life jacket on, jumped in the boat, started paddling with them. Thought I'd quite be, because in canoeing you all take turns. So I started going to the front, and let's say we're paddling 10 k's an hour. When I came to the front, we went like 5. So Farmer Glenn eventually just said to me, Warrick, don't even try, buddy. Just get on my slip and just sit there till the end. And that's what got me to the end, was seeing him. And you got to find that motivation.
So what was bothering you? If he had gone by, was he going to give you a stick over it? Did you not want to lose to him? Like, so what if you saw him?
No, it just, I
like
knew.
A trigger.
It was a trigger, exactly. I knew at that point, if I didn't get up now, I wasn't going to finish that race. And there's been one race in my life I have not finished, and I'll never do that again, ever. Like, I felt so terrible within myself that, okay, other than races where I've injured myself or broken a bone or something like that, but like one race where I pulled out because I've been soft.
What was the race?
It was a stupid little mountain bike race.
Okay.
Back in South Africa, it was a schools race, and I just went out too hard at the start and blew up on in the first 10, 20 Ks of the race. And it was a lap race, so I had an easy way out, pulled over, told my dad I was over. My dad's like, well, what are you doing? Because he knew, like, I don't do that. And I just said, no, I'm done. And I literally, like, I've never felt so guilty.
When did that guilt kick in?
About 10 minutes after. Like, the first bit, I was like, okay, fine. But I mean, I'd been toying with the idea for the last 2 laps pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
So like I just, yeah, to me you just don't
Yeah.
quit.
Have you gone back and done a mountain bike race again?
Oh, tons, yeah.
Because what's interesting is people will often quit the thing and then never go back to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I quit that run and nah.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, because my first marathon I cramped up, had to walk 12k. It took my quickest time running, that would have taken me an hour. I had to walk, so I was walking for an hour and a half more. I remember thinking, before I even finished it, I was thinking, I'm going to have to do this again. This has been a massive flop. Like, this is just, my goal was didn't care about the time, my goal was to go from the start to the finish, always jogging. Just jogging.
Sorry.
Cramped up, walked. Okay. And people are like, oh, at least you finished. Well, to be honest, I'd say this a few times. In Dubai, the marathon is out, you turn back. So I was somewhere 3/4 of the way. My car was parked beyond the finish line. So I had to walk to my car anyway. So it's like, oh, well done, I mean, if it was a circle track, there's a strong chance I might have hooked a left, gone off the course and just got to my car in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I ended up finishing at 5 hours 37, but just like, I have to do this again. This is a massive fail.
Yeah, but like, just touching on that, sorry. So for me, you can have every comment or excuse you want. The fact that your car was at the end.
That's why I got the medal.
No.
But it's not why I quit. It's not why I cramped up. I cramped up because I was grossly underprepared.
That's another story.
Simple as that. Yeah, it wasn't fit enough.
But what I'm saying is, so one of my favorite sayings is, there's no comment sheet on the results page. You got that medal.
Yeah,
you
good.
earned that medal. You know what I'm saying? So achieving what you achieved is because you achieved it. It doesn't matter. You could really have walked 5 kilometers further up the road, jumped in a taxi and got a lift to your car. But you didn't.
Yeah.
You still put one foot in front of the other and you finished that marathon. So that says a lot.
I like that though, that there's no comments section on a results sheet.
Yeah.
Because people make excuses, don't they? Why they did well, why they did poorly. Whether they say, like, I did badly because of this, or I only won because I got lucky. It's like, well, you still came where you came, eh?
I think one of the things that I've learned doing things like this is kind of the battle that you have with your own mind in the whole process. And I think, like, I realized this is you start having, whenever you have a tiny ounce of doubt, it can be mini, it can be a little mini seed. And as soon as you allow that debate to start happening within your own mind, like, I should stop, or I should continue, or I should do this, it grows and grows and grows and grows. And you can put yourself into a really bad state of being. And if you do not learn to shut that off, like, I don't know how to do that yet.
Don't know either.
I just acknowledge that it's there. I can acknowledge that that's happening, and being like, okay, how do I shut you out immediately so I can just let the good side win? And I had a very similar experience when I was on the mountain. I was like, literally, I wanted to get down from a donkey. I wanted a donkey to carry me down. And the problem is that the only reason I ended up shutting that voice down is because it's like, I can't tell the donkey there's no other way I can get off this mountain. Like,
was there a donkey there?
No, there wasn't a donkey in the vicinity. The donkeys had already gone down
Too
a
fast.
lot. Yeah, too fast. So I'd missed my opportunity. I missed the opportunity for the
bus.
donkey. So I was like, okay, but if another donkey comes, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I can't climb the rest of this mountain. Like,
Were you up or down?
No, I was on the way down. Down. So after a certain point, the donkeys don't go up. But the point of it is, it's like, once you've realized, like, I just have to shut up because there's no other way. Like, I've got no other way of getting off this mountain. I just have to go down.
Yeah, especially on a mountain, because, like, you can't stop. There's not another route. There's only like that way. Yeah,
the option that you have is like, okay, I'm gonna camp on the floor here.
Yeah.
Like, which is fine. You can camp on the floor, but you still got to get down.
Yeah.
Like, whether you do it today or tomorrow, you got to get off that mountain. So it's like, okay, this is what I realized. How do I get that conversation? If I'm gonna waste an hour in a bad mood and having this flip-flop conversation in my head, how do I just nip it in the butt straight away and just get on with it?
You can't.
So I can. No, but you have to.
I know, you have to try.
You have to find
I'm
a way.
literally like a schizophrenic.
Because you are so much more productive.
I'm literally like a schizophrenic. I'm arguing with myself, and I'm like, right. And I'm trying to bargain with myself. So I did 26.5 Ks today, one of those two. And I knew exactly where I was going to do a U-turn and come back, U-turn, come back, U-turn. So that was where it was laid out. I hadn't really anything less than that was going to be like a didn't do what I was supposed to do this morning. But there's been other days where I've been running and I've been like, right, well, if I turn at that corner and get back, then that's this much. And I did. That'll be a little bit much more than last time. So is that enough? And then that's 5 minutes of a conversation, and then I'm so tired, my brain fogs over, and I'm like, where did I say I'd turn around again? Okay, well, if I go, and I had the same conversation again, and I'm like, I've had this conversation 4 times. What I know is, before I started, I said I'm going to run up to the top. So let me just go to the top, because I can't remember where I can't remember all these calculations I've just done in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go to the top, and then that's 25 minutes. Oh, well, now I'm nearly there now. Where did that time flew when you're arguing with yourself?
Yeah, I know, but it's such a, like, this is what my feeling is. It's such a waste of my energy. It's such a waste of my time. It's such, like, I think, why am I going to give, like, it's almost like I give a microphone to the worst part of me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, why am I giving it a microphone? I don't want to give it a voice, because it does nothing but sabotage me. Does nothing but take me in a direction that my whole heart and body and mind do not want to go down that route, because there is nothing fruitful there. So why am I giving it a voice?
Because it's
so
so
now
nice just
I
to
know,
stop
but I've
and
understood
lie down
that.
and get on the donkey.
I know, but
and
now that I've understood that, I'm trying to find a
Yeah.
way of, when that starts to happen, being like, nah, fuck off.
but like-
give me the mic.
I completely agree with you there,
Okay.
and like trying to turn it off and stuff like that. But the other flip of the coin is that is what makes the journey so special. Honestly, because it's that
I
story.
don't like
I
that
think so.
one.
I
It's
agree.
that
I think so.
story now, like, and for me, this is like also part of the reason why I do what I do. Is, for me, one of my biggest achievements in life is to be able to sit with my grandkids one day, have them on my lap, and they say, "So, Grandpa, what have you done?" Like, well, listen here, buddy. This is what I've done, and it's that rubbish dump that makes that story and that trip so special and unique. If I just paddled from Durban to Maritzburg to Durban,
Yeah.
so many people have
I know
done
what
it.
you're saying.
If you had just done your walk without any hiccups, or your hike, or your without any hiccups or anything, or your life without any hiccups, how boring would it be? I mean, just that run, like the fact that you had those fights in your brain or in your mind today gave us something to talk about.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I'm saying? And that's
can
what
you
makes it so unique.
imagine though? Can you imagine how much more productive if instead of having this disgusting conversation with the lesser part of you,
Yeah.
to just be like, do you know what? I'm going to use this energy, this fire,
Yeah.
and propel myself over here. Like, that's the conclusion that I've come to. So now I'm like, okay, how do I?
But
If you're
then
gonna
what would you
do
learn?
that?
If you can
you
achieve
learn.
that, you've got like enlightenment.
Well,
Yeah.
no. Look, I don't think it's enlightenment, but do you remember just before I left for my mountain journey, and just before I think you were training for something as well? What
You're
were
training
you
for the World
training for?
Championships.
Yeah, the half Ironman, 70.3
see-
Worlds in Nice.
This is what you did not mention on here. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I recommended that you listen to this podcast. It was an audio book by David Goggins. Did you end up finding it?
Yes, I did.
You did.
I
And
loved
what did
it.
you think?
I loved it. I think
Yeah.
I listened to it in like 3 days.
Yeah, me too. I was addicted to it. So just for anybody who hasn't listened to David Goggins before, he has this book, and it's Can't Hurt Me or Can't Hurt You, or
Can't hurt me. Yeah.
Okay, so basically he talks about the story of his life, and he's an ultramarathoner, and he's just crazy. He's a Navy SEAL, and the whole premise behind this book is it's not about training your body, it's about training your mind to be a beast, so that when life throws anything at you, you've got it. Like, nothing sways you. You've just got like this, like, I don't know what the
Yeah.
word for that is. What is the word for this? Resilience.
Yeah.
Robustness.
Yeah. And
Anti-fragile.
well, yeah, that's another thing. That one. Yeah, that whole
Yeah, how to
anti-fragile
be
concept.
like anti-fragile, how to be unbreakable.
How to take it and use it and make it stronger.
Yeah.
See, sorry. Like,
So going back, did you
yes.
enjoy so you listened to
I
it?
loved
Amazing.
it. I listened to it. I loved it. I recommend it to anyone, honestly, because it does just tick
Mm.
all those boxes of what every person needs. And my biggest thing, it's amazing, like, and one of the things I love about life in general is we all look at things so differently. And for me, the biggest thing that I got out of that book is it's actually, it's all about your mind, but it all comes down to one decision. When you were with those donkeys. Okay, well, the donkey wasn't there, but
Yeah.
whether you sat down
alone.
for that minute, it's down to a decision that you make yourself. Whether you get up in the morning or you don't, it's down to one decision. And to me, one of the biggest things is, if there's one if in a sentence, it's too many. What if I did this? Or I could have done this, but, or if or but, like I could have done this, but I didn't. Like if there's one if or one but, it's too many. So rather, like instead of saying a but, or like in that moment to make that decision, it's actually not a decision. You just put that next foot in front of the other and you just keep going. And that's what you do when you get to the stage where you were at, when you, like, I was doing a hike, that we were actually talking about this a little earlier, where I was hiking along the Grand Traverse in South Africa. It's meant to take 12 days or 15 days or whatever for people to do. And I basically was coming down the mountain a little bit early because I lost feeling in my left hip from my pack pinching my nerve. So my leg was kind of lame. Anyway, so long story short, I was coming down the mountain and things actually got a little bit serious because I was on my own. It was pitch black, and I wanted to just get down off the top of the mountain. And if you know the Drakensberg or anything about the Drakensberg Mountains, you literally got 1,000 meters of descent within a K or two. So it's pretty steep. It's very steep. And I got to this slippery rock, and it was big, it was long, it was like probably 7 meters long, and it was raining. And I put my foot in, and I was like, no, this is sketchy. And literally, so I was like, lay down on my stomach, and I started pulling myself across this rock. And no, it was crazy, and I slipped.
It's so weird, the things you have to do, isn't it, sometimes?
Exactly, like, and it was too big, like too high for, I didn't have the energy to go up, and I didn't have the energy to go down either. So I lay on my stomach, and I started pulling myself across this rock, and eventually I slipped, and I just started tumbling down this hill. And I literally stopped probably 2 meters away from like a 30-meter cliff.
Jeez.
And the only reason why I stopped in the end, I think, is somehow one of my walking poles had come out of my pack. And I kept slamming it into the ground, and eventually I stopped. And I literally lay there and I cried like a little baby. And I literally wanted to just stop right there and just stop, go nowhere. Like I wanted to just wait for mountain rescue to save me, because my family would have known that I was coming down, because my mates I was hiking with, they were going, the next day they were going to reach a point with signal. And yeah, I literally just lay there and cried. But I had no choice. I had to get to safety.
Yeah.
So I walked down, eventually got to the bottom, set up camp, and then the next day got out.
Okay, so there's two lessons there. One is that's scary, and two, like, isn't it interesting? Like, you have to be so prepared for these things, prepared for everything as much as possible.
Yeah.
But then you can't prepare for your legs shutting off. Do you know? Because like
no, but you can train your body. So maybe this is something that we can go into really briefly. Like, how do you train? And you've been training for the World Championships?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, there was.
Okay, so maybe we can talk about that.
What
what is that exactly for people who don't know? What are the World Championships?
The World Championship was Ironman, well, half Ironman. It was held in Nice in September. And yeah, basically it's a 1.9 kilometer swim, it's a 90 kilometer cycle, and then a 21 kilometer run. So nothing massive. It's like 4 hours of racing. It honestly
But you have to qualify, right?
Yes.
To be able to enter.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to be decent. You have to be very good.
Yeah, look, it's become quite open now
Oh,
for
you're so
loads of people.
humble.
No, honestly, it is. Like, anyone can pretty much enter now, because they've got so many slots that they give away. It's not just for the elite of the elite. And I was very fortunate to actually. It was quite funny, because I had a back operation 2 years ago in January, and then this January now, pretty much 1 year later to the day, I qualified for Nice in Dubai, 70.3, and yeah, it's just amazing how the journey goes. And yeah, so I've lost track of where we were. So basically,
just talk us a little bit actually about the back surgery. What was that?
So I was riding out on Al-Qudra. I went over the handlebars and woke up feeling a little bit funny, and 3 months, 4 or 5 months of trying to get just an extra MRI on my back. My medical wouldn't send me for MRI, and I kept phoning them saying, guys, listen, like, this is getting worse. I started losing feeling in my bum, started losing feeling in my leg, and then all of a sudden started going down into my foot. And they kept saying, no, like, we can't, we're like, not enough proof. Eventually, like, I woke up the one morning, went to get some eggs out the fridge, fell on the floor, Luckily, my sister was home. I was living with my sister then because I just moved to Dubai. And she carried me to the couch, put me on the couch. She had to shoot out for a flight because she works with Emirates. Jumped on her flight, left me there, and I was stuck. I literally eventually phoned a friend. Ambulance had to come, take me to the hospital, and they literally told me in the hospital that if I don't have an operation in that day pretty much, I may never get feeling in my leg again.
Do you have compression on a nerve?
Yeah, I had 2 collapsed discs in the back, in the lower back, and it just literally, I couldn't push a finger with my foot.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Like someone that does stupid things.
I know. I've had that experience before where your
I'm
leg is
sure.
just so weak. Like as soon as you damage anything, no matter how much muscular strength you have in your leg, if the nerve anything goes wrong with that nerve, you cannot move at all. Like there is nothing happening.
Yeah, and it's scary for for someone like all of us. You've trained like so hard for something, or you've put your whole life into sport and into being a fit, healthy person, to then all of a sudden just hit this brick wall. I actually call it a slap. Like these little things that happen in your life, you just catch a slap and you're like, okay, come back to earth. This is life, and you get these little lessons along the way. And I remember lying in hospital pretty much on my own. I had Kelly, one of my friends, who was there, and Jules, who came over to see me. And other than that was it. My sister was flying. I got told I may never walk again. Like your world just shatters around you.
Yeah.
And but I love it. It makes you who you are. It makes your story. It's amazing. It's really cool. Like I wouldn't change it for the world now.
Okay, so after this back surgery, a year later you qualified for the World Championships.
So that's very important to realize that for people. That 12 months later you're up to the standard of World Championships competition.
To be able to qualify.
That's why I wanted you to explain that a bit more, because a year later you're qualifying for Worlds.
Yeah, look, I'm just very lucky. I think like my body can handle stuff, and my body is able to take on more than I think other bodies possibly can. Or maybe it's just my mind that I'm very lucky, where I'm quite positive and I'm not scared to push my limits. And
I nearly say it's your mind, because we've literally just spoke about how your body broke.
Well, maybe it is my mind.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, it wasn't an option of if I was going to qualify. It was a matter of when and a matter of what I needed to do to get back into race thing. And I came to Dubai honestly super unfit, and then I basically realized, okay, wait, I'm actually not far off where I was before the back operation. Like that was for me, because my best time in Dubai was 4 hours 10. Before that, I think it was something like that, and then this time I went 4 hours 14. So basically I had lost 4 minutes over that period. And it wasn't just a matter of operation, get training. It was like 3 months of no training, and then literally only able to swim 2 laps of a pool. And then I remember going for my first run on Al Qudra, not on Al Qudra, on the beach track, and literally running and crying. Like people must have thought what's wrong with this ache? But for me, it was a step, and taking.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's about taking those little steps that we even spoke about earlier. That first step of running, I was just like, I've got this. And then that little 1K run comes a 10K run, and tick, I got this. I really have got this. And then you doing a half Ironman a year later. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's just achieving those goals, and I've got
and
this.
you can't fake that.
No.
So tell me, the World Championships, how did you go?
Oh man.
How was it?
No, so to be honest with you, I didn't have a great waltz.
You got a little slap.
Yeah, I got a little slap, basically. So it's amazing how life works. Like Dubai 70.3, I was stoked. Like the fact that I was racing again, I was unbelievably stoked. Then I went to Astana and raced Astana 70.3, which was in Kazakhstan, and an amazing race. And I had possibly the race of my life. I don't know why, I don't know what happened, but everything just clicked. Those little mind talks that you have in your mind, I didn't have those. Other than the last K of the run.
You were in the flow.
You
were in flow.
Everything just clicked.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. So I came out of Astana and I'm like, okay, I'm in for a good world. I'm the fittest I've ever.
See, just to interrupt you, that is why we shut that stupid voice out. so that you can be in flow. Because when you don't learn
Yeah.
how to shut that off, you are never in flow.
I don't
So-
know how to shut it off.
I know.
I just didn't have it that
Neither do
day.
I, guys. This is what we're working out.
Like it's not a matter of shutting it out. It's literally a matter of
When it does shut out, though,
Yeah.
No,
what is your point?
it's about like okay, I acknowledge that this voice is here. I do not want to give it the microphone.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
taking the microphone away from you, and we are giving the microphone to the voice
Yes.
that is going to get me to the end of that
Yes.
championship,
But
or
then
it's
that
going to
voice
make.
goes, but it'll be really nice to stay in bed. It'll be really nice to stay in
No.
bed.
Anyway, look. Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me how did it go?
So yeah, so Waltz.
Mhm.
Yeah. So okay, I'll go between the two so you can get the comparison between Astana and Waltz and just how things happen. So in Astana,
What times are they between each other?
it was 2.5 months, 2 months I think between the two. So enough time to train, and I changed so much for World, not so much, like I just before Astana we had just started gymming together, and you started training me in the gym, and I honestly felt like that had a massive role in my Astana. And the fact that I went overseas and traveled a month in Europe didn't really help. I felt I lacked that, even though I tried to keep it going myself. But it's little things like that make the difference. So anyway, so I got out the swim in Astana, and I was like, jeepers, I'm with someone that I know should be a faster swimmer than me. So tick. And then it's all down to a positive mindset. And I think that's what shuts out those demons,
Yeah.
is a positive mindset of the start. So I got out the water, tick. Now, I know this guy, Andy Edwards, who's a legend, like a Dubai legend in the triathlon world, and I know he's meant to be this Uber biker. So we got out the swim together. I then, before I knew it, was in the front of the pack, pulling him on the bike. And then I looked back and I dropped him. So I'm like, jeepers, Warrick, you're having a biker. Like, you're actually going really well today. And it's just that one confidence booster to the next. And then at Worlds, on the other hand, I got out the water, brilliant swim. Like, honestly, I was so stoked to swim. So I thought, like, I'm on form here, like this is going to be the race I wanted. And I then got onto the bike and very quickly realized like my legs were just seizing from pretty much 5Ks in. Some poor guy crashed in front of me within like 5Ks of the bike, slammed on brakes, rode straight into him, went over landed on him, so I lost a bit of time there. But that was nothing major. Then so that was like one negative thing. Then my legs were not going well. I kept looking down at my power meter, and because it gets quite scientific when you're racing triathlon now, and I looked down at my power meter and it was showing numbers that I should, like well below what I should be pushing. So now you kind of block this out, and the mind's going like, okay, I'm just having a bad day, like I just need to push. And eventually I got down the bike, and towards the end of the bike I started vomiting on the bike, but not massively. And I was like, oh, sheepers, this isn't good. So I got off the bike in an okay position. So I came out the water in the top 10. I then got off the bike, and I think it was like 20th or something. And then I got onto the run, which is really meant to be my strength. And I literally went out. Normally when I get out onto a run for half Ironman, I'm running 3 minutes 30 a K. And I literally like trying to slow myself down.
That's really fast. I'm just realizing, do you know what? I'm just going to, just for comparison, I can run 7 minutes a K.
No, but that's the beauty of life. You all do things so much better than me.
That's why I'm a hiker.
Well, I averaged 6:03 today, which is
Like
not,
a boss.
Which is not
This
quick.
is why I do not run anymore. I walk.
But for me, like I normally get off the bike feeling amazing, and I got off the bike at 4 minutes a K, 4:10 a K. I'm like, okay, come on, Warrick, like you got this. Pick my pace up to 3 minutes 50, which is where I wanted to average for the whole 21 Ks, and yeah, I just kept going, looked down, holding 350 okay, then got to a water station, grabbed a glass of water. 100 meters later, hooked a little U-turn onto the side of the road. This poor family, like this mom with their 2 kids standing there, and I'm just like projectiling, like the poor family. It was disgusting.
You must have upset your tummy earlier.
Something just didn't go right on the day, and whatever it was, like to be honest with you, this is like one of the only races I haven't ever done a race report on because it was too much of a knock, like too much of a slap for me, like, and it's knocked me like massively as an athlete, and I'm still trying to get over it. But anyway, long story short, I literally then carried on running, so like projectile for a while, carried on running, and then a mate of mine was on the side, like giving me abuse, like, come on, suck it up, like, you got to go. He picked me back up to like 4 minutes, okay? Got around to the next corner, again, projectiling, and eventually, like, I made the decision that if I don't just take this easy, I'm going to end up in hospital, or like, it was like something's going to go wrong. So I made the decision, whether it's soft, calling quits or whatever, but to rather just finish the race than not finish the race and do damage for good.
It's not so. That's the big difference between. Oh, the alarms are just going off.
I think that's your alarm to say time's up.
I'll tell you what, I am. This is getting low on disk space. But look, that's a good thing. That's a good point that you finished on, because it shows the difference between what the day you quit when you didn't fancy it, and then now you've got the maturity to just pull the reins back a little bit and just chill, finish the race, achieve your goal, get the data, reassess, and then move on to the next one. And you don't have that guilt. You're mature enough now to accept something just went wrong.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, look, I think... Sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Should we just try and wrap it up?
Yeah, just pause it and then we'll wrap it up.
Let's see. Cool. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll try and wrap it up now in a minute, just before that alarm comes back on. Is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, just finishing off your world championship kind of story about how your body wasn't feeling great. I think when you have stuff like that, you really have to go, okay, like, what's more important, me winning this race or me looking after the body that I live in? And I think you made the reasonable decision to look after your body. Like, there's certain things that you can't push beyond when you feel so sick like that. It's you really have to take it back. Your body's obviously telling you, I can't do this. Like, something's wrong. I'm not feeling great. Anyway, they're my 2 cents, just hopefully to make you feel a bit better about that. I don't think it's soft.
It's the right call.
Yeah, look, it's easy to say. I mean, I think when you're competitive, you just want to go all out the whole time.
Yeah, look, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
It is what it is. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it now. The story's written. I have to just find my way of handling it and appreciating it and enjoying it.
So what's in the calendar now for the next few months?
Next few months, I am Dubai 70.3 again. I was very fortunate in Astana to qualify for next year's Worlds Ready.
Okay,
so I'm going to New Zealand, then full Ironman in South Africa, where I'll hopefully qualify for Kona, which is full Ironman World Championships. And then that run we spoke about, the C2 summit of Jebel Jais. So that's pretty much the plans for the next thing. And I've got a couple more little treats, hopefully, for the next year.
Still in the pipeline.
Yeah, definitely.
They sound great. Well, thank you so much for having us. And if people want to follow your journey or follow anything, how do they do that?
Yeah, so basically just the best is Instagram. I think that's where I'm probably the loudest, if you can call it that. It's just Warrick Mac Nicol, pretty straightforward. And thanks so much, guys, for having me. It's been amazing.
Amazing.
Cheers, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Cheers.